It is time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing. On today's show, Starbucks taps Square, and RapidBlue wonders if in-store movement is the next battlefront. Plus, we've got a lot. We've got Gary Schwartz talking fast shopper, slow store, plus our funding and M&A activity, and our resource of the week right about now.
The Funk Soul Brother.
Welcome to episode number 90 of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. That's 90 weeks, Asif, that we've been doing this.
I can't believe it. It's, yeah. But you know what? It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of great news out there. Lots to cover. So, I don't see us slowing down and, looking forward to that 100.
This is just beginning for us, for sure. Yeah, 100, 10 episodes, 10 weeks away. I don't even know what we're going to do. I'm going to go out of my mind. Of course, I just got to remind you, on episode number 90, maybe I'll do this every 10 episodes. This is the show that you come to find out the week that was in location-based marketing, get a little bit more insight about what it means for your business, how to apply some of this stuff. Is it good or is it bad? Is it just indifferent? Do you make the plunge? Do you not make the plunge? That's what we're here to discuss. And we kind of get into it sometimes. Sometimes there's some meaty stories. Like today, Starbucks and working with Square. That's a meaty story. We're going to dive into that. Lots of funding news, a great resource about, hey, you know what? Mobile users, people who carry mobile phones, Asif, they have shopping apps. They use them. So I'd be scared,
apparently.
Right? Yeah, it's a pretty amazing thing.
Apparently people are using them.
But before we...
Yeah, and
go ahead.
If you're not familiar with us yet, I'm Asif Khan, Location-Based Marketing Association. You can find us at the LBMA on Twitter or .com. And I'll apologize to those who are listening and watching now. I got a cold, so if I cut out,
cold.
Start hacking all over the place, you know what?
Yeah, I have the same thing. I don't know what it is. It's the summer man cold. It is terrible.
And we haven't even been together, Rob.
I know. Rumors are going to start spreading. In fact, you know what? The only time I've been off my couch is to do these podcasts in the last 2 weeks because the Olympics, man. The Olympics. I am addicted to the Olympics, and they're done.
I know, it's over. You're going to have to do something else now.
I start
like a treehouse.
Yeah, I did that. That's done. Okay. It's so funny that now I'm going to have to start responding to emails and returning calls. But I got to, Canada, yay Canada. Canada finished with 18 medals, 12 bronze medals. And apparently what this means for us, the U.S. won, obviously, and won everything healthily. 18 medals, 1 gold, and it's, of all things, trampolining. It's like an embarrassment, kind of. But we got a gold in trampolining.
We'll take it.
We'll take it. Big couple of weeks. I love the Olympics. I love it. But now life returns to normal, right?
Absolutely. All right. Plenty to talk about.
Let's
look at the Olympics.
Yeah, let's jump into it. One of the things we're going to dive into our 5 stories now. One of the things that we during this whole time over the last couple of weeks we haven't talked about really is about Foursquare and really deciding to test their ad platform and start making some money. So this is really Foursquare's bid here. 20 million people using this platform. Now it's time to actually make some money.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that Foursquare's been struggling with for a while, and they've come up with this concept of a promoted update. So the idea behind this really is, sort of like a promoted tweet. But the difference being is that before this happened, you would check in, you would see a list of places around you, you would check into a location, and then it would simply say, here's a bunch of tips from other people who have left about that place or whatever. But now the business who owns that property can actually push you an ad unit inside of the, based on a check-in. And it's a rich visual, graphic display ad unit, and they've got a bunch of guys testing it. So Whole Foods has been doing it, JCPenney, Hertz, Old Navy, the list goes on and on. Have been playing around with this. So it's kind of cool, and to just echo what you were just saying about the Olympics. JCPenney in particular, their first foray into this was around that in particular. You could check into this thing and see a promoted special for $15 off a Olympic T-shirt to support the athlete. So there you go.
Is this going to work, do you think? Is this going to have the desired effect for Foursquare?
I think it's a step in the right direction. I think they will generate some revenue from this. I think it's a. I mean, you gotta look at it this way. Think about it as you already have traffic going there. People are already finding these locations in Foursquare. They're checking into them anyways. So if you're a smart brand, it only makes sense that you want to tap into those eyeballs a bit further and actually get them to buy something specific. And so think of it as sort of a blending of a Groupon model in some respects with people who've already socially discovered you.
Yeah, and the only thing that I have, I think that the challenge for Foursquare is shaking this moniker of a check-in company, right? And I know that they've done a lot of modifications to their UI, but one of the features that they removed was the Friends Nearby feature with this latest version that came out in the summer. And I gather there's such an uproar from the community, the Foursquare community, a very vocal Foursquare community, that they put this feature back in the most recent update. That's it's always funny to me that they took that out, because that really is the golden pot at the end of this rainbow for Foursquare, which is, hey, your friends are around and this is what they're doing, and it entices people into those locations. But maybe it conflicts with the desired ad targeting platform.
Yeah, I think it does to some extent. I mean, you either, if you look at the platforms, the other platforms in the marketplace today, you've got the ones that are sort of the pure play, social discovery, the banjos and all that kind of stuff, which a feature like finding friends nearby fits very nicely into, but when you pivot slightly, I'm not saying this is a complete pivot, but when you try to go after ad dollars and then to try and bring those brands on board, the brands don't care necessarily. I'm not saying they don't at all, but they may not care so much about your friends nearby. What they care about is can I get you to come in and buy something right now?
Friends get in the way.
Yeah. So now, if you happen to have 3 friends nearby that can also buy our stuff, that's good too. But
yeah, it's funny because the social influence of friends will trump any kind of advertising. So when you put those two together, they either line up very effectively, as in, this restaurant has run this promotion that brought in these 3 friends, and therefore you're going to come as well, or it totally screws everything up because they went over here to this different restaurant while this restaurant was offering the promotion and nobody went there.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I can understand Foursquare's thinking behind this, but boy, the vocal many of Foursquare, very passionate group, said, listen, I don't want to know where anybody outside of my locale. I want to make sure that I can find the friends that are nearby. So. Well, this is an interesting time for Foursquare. We got to be watching this. If anybody has any insight about this, got a great interview that I did with Holger Ludorf, who is the VP of Mobile on Untethered.tv, and he never lets out any of these things, but he talked about the redesign and the logic and the thinking behind that in the UI. So if you're interested, you can check it out on Untether. But Foursquare's new ad platform. What do you think? Do you think it's going to work? Reach out, untether@gmail.com, or receive at the LBMA. All right, our second story. This is a pretty cool story. If it wasn't bad enough, not bad, but there's this battle brewing, obviously, around indoor location and positioning around devices. But one of these things, this company is very innovative. RapidBlue is doing the equivalent to like Google Analytics, but in real life for in-store traffic and monitoring in-store traffic from Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Like this is pretty cool stuff.
What I like about these guys, RapidBlue, is their take on indoor location. They're not talking about pushing a deal based on where you are in the store. They're not talking about helping you find a particular product on a particular shelf. What they're talking about is giving the brand, giving the retailer analytics about foot traffic patterns and where people are going, and not just the people who are actively putting up their hand and saying, hey, I'm here. They're talking about everybody. Because what they've done here, and there's a few people doing this, by the way, it's not unique to them, but I like how they position this. What they're saying is when somebody walks into a store and they have a device in their pocket, that device, 9 times out of 10, has got Wi-Fi or Bluetooth turned on, running in the background somewhere. Whether they're choosing to use it to connect to a network or not is not the point here. The point is the radio is on and it's doing something in the background. And so they can use that information to associate it with some sort of an ID that is unique to that device, number one. And number two, we can then use that to build a database over time to say, okay, well, we saw a smartphone come in this morning. It's an iPhone running, the latest OS, and it's got this unique device ID number. We don't know who it is. We don't know it's Rob's iPhone, but we know it's a unique iPhone with the latest OS, and it's got Bluetooth turned on. And it came in at 10 a.m. this morning into the store. And then if we track that device over a period of time, we can see that that same device came back to the store again on Friday at 3 in the afternoon, and then 2 weeks later. So now we're starting to gather a whole bunch of data about devices and how frequently they're coming into the store and where they're going in the store, and so you're able to go back to a retailer as an analytics provider and say, well, here's a whole bunch of information about traffic patterns around your store. You seem to be getting a lot of people coming in at 10 a.m. We've got data to back that up that might help you make better decisions. This is really what they're doing, and it's really, really powerful stuff. So I love it. RapidBlue. Keep it up.
Yeah, this is one of those things that it might seem intrusive. It might seem all these things that it isn't. This information is being broadcast whether you like it or not. But it's the one thing that's missing from this whole thing is sentiment, right? So there are many times that I'm just walking by without an intent to buy, right? But I'll poke my head into a store for like a second, and it kind of takes away that intent of that my intent is never to buy, it's just to go and take a look. So I step in and I step out, I step in and I step out at some of these stores. But it's so it takes out the emotional layer of it, right? So a lot of people go to stores to buy, right? Especially men. I'm going into that store, I'm buying that one thing, and I'm leaving. So it doesn't take into that element, that third dimension. But I think that this is an interesting place. But all of a sudden, you add that on top of context, and you can do a little bit more with it. But RapidBlue, pretty cool. RapidBlueSolutions.com if you're interested. They don't have a video, so I can't play anything. But RapidBlue video or Solutions.com.
There you go.
All right, we have a good friend in Josh Rockland from Xtify. He's a member of the Location-Based Marketing Association. Big announcement talking about integrating Google Cloud Messaging, Android Google Cloud Messaging into their platform. Let's give these guys a little bit of airtime, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a company we've talked about before. We've had these guys on the show in the past, and I think this is a big announcement. It's a technical announcement, so it might be hard for some folks to grasp.
It's okay. You can go easy on me.
Really in the marketing or ad world, but what they've done here is the Xtify is one of the leaders in geo-targeted push notifications. So these are the guys who, when you're in a certain location, they running a certain app that's using their back-end system, they can send you a push notification that's targeted purely on geography. And that core technology is relied on something called C2DM to do that. And so they've shifted away from the C2DM platform to using the Google Cloud Manager, which is something that's relatively new. Google only announced it, I think, back in June. That it was coming out, and so they've adapted their system to do this, and they're going forward with the GCM platform, and as the new version or replacement for C2DM. So this is cool because I think it's it makes it a lot more powerful. Everything's up in the cloud. It makes the information storage easier. If you're building apps using wanting to leverage Xtify's push notifications, I think this will make the tools a lot easier to work with.
And we like these guys and what they're doing, and certainly the differentiation. Android, the dominant mobile platform these days, anyways, for the next foreseeable future. I think that this is Josh knows what he's doing. This company is a company that everybody should watch. I always wonder though, when I look at these things, is this positioning for an acquisition? Like, is somebody going to pick up Xtify?
You got to think so. I mean, I think they've got some real strong technology here. One of the keys for push notification too, it's not just I can send in an alert, when it's time relevant or location relevant. It's when you look at it, so many of the apps that we have today, we hear about one app, we download an app, We use it for a day, and then it sits there, doing nothing, collecting dust. And it's that ability to push you a notification, a week later or 2 weeks later, something pops up on your phone when it's relevant, or there's something to say, and it's a platform like this that can enable that to happen. It's about driving retention of app usage and things like that.
Right. Right.
So yeah,
getting people to use it again. Like, what's that staggering statistic?
I love it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, keep up the good work, guys.
Yeah. Kudos to Xtify. If you're interested in finding out a little bit more about that, Xtify, Xtify.com. Xtify.com. All right, our meat story here, our meat and potato story. This is the story that everybody's been talking about this whole week because of the ramifications on payments. Square is this darling, right? Started by Jack Dorsey, also the co-founder of Twitter. Tell me this guy just doesn't have pockets lined with gold right now. He's sitting on a company called Square that is valued at $3.2 billion, and he's sitting on Twitter, which I don't even know what the valuation is, but it's more than $10. So this guy started Square, and all of a sudden they started in this space, which was to help the uncreditable, the companies, the small businesses, and the individuals who could never get a credit card, never get a merchant account, allow them to get some kind of accept credit cards. And all of a sudden, these guys have moved upstream in an insane way by securing Starbucks as a lead large enterprise, like national, because it's only US based right now, but national franchise to jump on board Square's payment system. This is incredible for them.
Yeah, this is huge because, you've always been able to walk in and obviously pay cash at Starbucks. You've been able to use, they've had their own payment system, their own Starbucks cards and all that kind of stuff. But going in there and paying with your credit card has been something that they weren't really doing, and didn't. In some extent, it doesn't make sense. But when you think about it, from a Square perspective on this is huge. This is taking them out of the world of the independent taxi cab driver and into the world of big Fortune 500 brand company using their system to process credit card payments. This is massive. And it's not just a casual by Starbucks, hey, we're going to try this out. They're rolling this out in the fall across the U.S. And, you mentioned that $3.25 billion valuation. Starbucks is also investing $25 million into Square. So Starbucks is going to own a piece of Square now. And Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, is joining the board. So this is a full-on endorsement with money coming behind it, as an investment into Square itself, on top of using the technology. This is huge.
It is huge. And I like to look at many angles on this. There's a few things here. This is, I don't know if this is against convention here, but I watched a company called RIM leave their bread and butter customer base, right? They left their bread and butter customer base. The enterprise customer went off and said, listen, we need to be in the consumer space. We're going all out consumer. It's consumer, consumer, consumer. It's consumer, 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 consumer. And look what happened to them. They let their enterprise focus slip, all consumer. That's a very competitive market. They're not making the margins that they once were. Obviously not. They're declining very quickly. Their enterprise is now in jeopardy as well. And there's rumors of people buying, IBM picking up RIM's enterprise. Yeah. So when I look at this, I think, wow, this is a huge announcement for Square. This is a mainstream, what does this do for mobile payments kind of announcement, Square, Starbucks. And I love the fact that Starbucks is this company. We've talked about Starbucks as a leader in mobile and retail technology adoption, right? These guys, they are at the forefront. They understand how to use this. Now, the challenge that I have with all of this is that is this Square getting a little bit too big for its britches? Certainly this is I think this is a costly endeavor. Whatever the rates that Starbucks was paying, it wasn't very high, credit card transaction fees. My feeling is that, and a lot of people's feelings is that Square's eating that in order to entice this. So there are no transaction fees. And what is this? Is this more of a marketing play for those guys? And are they taking their eye off of the ball by focusing here? They're taking the eye off the ball of the real market, which was those guys that couldn't get their merchant accounts, because this is a competitive space, and they've just kind of popped their head up into a world that they're just, I don't think they're equipped to deal with at this point, even though their valuation is insane. Their revenue may be high, the flow through may be high, but the actual take home profit is very low as a percentage. Tough for me. Good marketing.
So I got a couple thoughts on that. I think the first is that I don't agree with the taking their eye off the ball too much. I think they know that they're the leader in that market right now. The other guys are struggling to get into it. The PayPal's with their here and so on. We're not seeing as much traction from them. No knock in PayPal. They're doing great on lots of other parts of their business, but as far as the hardware piece competing, they're having some difficulty with that from what I can tell. So that's the first piece. I don't think that's going to be a big challenge for Square. Two, I like this for Square because it down the road, as they start to roll this thing out in Starbucks, it starts to showcase some of the real technology value that they have beyond just processing a card. So one of the things here is this ability that Starbucks is one of those places where there's a high volume of transactions. You always have lineups of people waiting for their coffee. And one of the things that the app can do, the Square app can do, is automate that process a little bit, whereby I walk in, I don't even have to take the phone out of my pocket. The cashier's got a screen up there. My photo shows up on the screen. My coffee's ready to go, and and they just hand it to me as I come up to the desk. So it is a little bit about streamlining and making it more efficient, that process of getting the coffee in the hand of the customer and getting them out of the store a lot faster, which is a good thing for Starbucks. It means more customers moving through faster, and it's a good thing for Square, I think, in terms of showcasing the power of the technology beyond just processing the payment.
Yeah, I've no argument there. What the challenge that a lot of this is going to come down to is that, there's no doubt about the convenience. I think the challenge comes down to, Malik said it well. I'm going to pull it up on screen here, where he talks about, listen, keep your eye out on the rollout. We understand the absolute pain it's going to cause, or it's going to, when it comes to understanding, that people have to rip out point of sale systems in order to be able to put the Square point of sale system in there. And let's see how this rolls out over the next little while inside of Starbucks in the US and what the impact is. But, all of the value around this, totally get. Now the question is, did they give up too much, or is this just their lead customer? Is this a good marketing campaign? As
an outsider, not knowing the parameters of the deal, I'm going to go on a limb and somewhat agree with you and say the $25 million investment is really just them paying for
prepay.
It's a prepay for the customer.
Because $25 million in a $3.2 billion.
It's a good deal for Starbucks. Hey, we're getting the technology, we're paying for it, but we get a chunk of the company too. Hey, I like it.
Well, I was going to say a $25 million investment in a valuation of $3.2 billion. That's like 37 lattes, right? That's
yeah. Well, still.
But big ups for Square doing this. If this doesn't do anything but move the mobile payment system forward, I think that this is definitely a bonus for everybody.
And that's a big part of it. We talked last week about JCPenney's announcement and them going and saying, hey, we're going completely mobile cash register, mobile checkout by the end of next year. Yeah. We need these big retailers to get on board and get behind this. Otherwise, the stuff just sits there, and we're never going to have it happen.
And you will see with our clip coming up after our next story, Gary Schwartz talks about this. Is a fast shopper, slow store, right? And what he talks about is that convenience factor, is the fact that this is going there very quickly, and what can we do to actually, he even talked in his presentation about the dream of the mobile wallet, which is 2012, 2013, 2014, who knows when, but maybe this accelerates that process as a result of this. Who knows? But I'm a big fan of Starbucks. I hate their coffee. I despise their coffee, but I love them as a technology and an innovative company for technology. And they should be somebody that you watch when it comes to coming trends. So God love them. Good on them. Hate their coffee. Just hate it. But love them as a company. Can I do that?
Sure.
All right. It's the sickness in the brain. It's the man cold. It's getting to me. All right. Can we put that subject to rest? We will be watching this with a bated breath. And if anybody's listening from Square or Starbucks, we've been trying to get you on the show for forever. So we'd love to have you on it. Reach out, untether@gmail.com or asif@thelbma.com. Last story. Speaking of convenience, Lucky Magazine, Macy, Sephora. What is this? This is a great mashup of, hey, we don't need a store. Hey, you know what? That magazine in your hand? Hey, it is a store, right?
It is. I like this. I mean, and the reason I brought this one out is, we've seen this similar concept applied in other areas, like with the shopping walls, like in the subway station, that Tesco did, and all that kind of stuff. It's the same principle applied here, except that we're talking about the reinvention of print magazines. And so, Lucky Magazine is a big magazine for anybody who's into shopping in the U.S. If you are a fan of Macy's or Sephora, now you don't have to go anywhere. Basically, they've created a site called myluckymag.com. It's an e-commerce site. As you're reading stuff in the magazine, you can scan things, you can find things in there, and you can basically connect directly to the site. You can put them in your shopping cart, and you can buy them. So there's no need to go to the store. And I like this. I think this is, when you think about how magazines have to be, how print has to get reinvented, this is exactly the way it's got to go. So kudos to Lucky for doing this. They've got this. Apparently, it's optimized for iPad, Kindle Fire, and Nook. So they've gone right after all the tablets.
I like this, and I saw this with Zappos a while ago. It's very competitive in the App Store space. So what did Zappos do? They built a catalog, and they put that in the iBooks category in iTunes, and basically what it was a clickable, buyable book. And it turned into a catalog. And you're right, magazines, newspapers have to figure out a way to, it's not good enough just to do display anymore. You have to actually create a transaction. If I'm going to advertise in your magazine, what I want from the return is a sale. I don't want somebody just going to my website. Yeah. I want you to close a deal, close many deals. And that's what you're going to be rated on. And so this is pretty cool. I'm very excited about this kind of stuff. Direct to commerce.
Good. And they also have a feature in here where you can collect your favorite items from the magazine. So sort of like a built-in Pinterest board, so to speak,
or save to Foursquare kind of thing. Yeah,
or save to Foursquare. So I like that too, because it's when if you have any women friends out there and you see them going through these decorating magazines and these fashion magazines, and they're ripping stuff out and doing all of that, this is the kind of thing that we're talking about. So it makes sense.
So go to luckymag.com, right? Is that what it is? Yeah, myluckymag.
It is luckymag.com.
Luckymag.com.
myluckymag.com is the site.
Okay, myluckymag.com. And let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Reach out and please, if you've used this or if you're buying this, unfortunately we're in Canada, which is always, it sucks, right? But we get to watch the innovation happen south of the border, and then pick up the scraps.
There you go.
All right, those are the 5 stories. We get some big news from Foursquare, big news from Square. Hey, it's like the Square Day. Wow. Xtify, RapidBlue, and MyLuckyMag, Macy's, and Sephora. Big week. Those are the greatest stories ever. If yours isn't in there, it's your fault because you didn't reach out and let us know. If you have a story, like Josh had a story about Xtify, reach out, untethered@gmail.com or cf@thelvma.com. Yes. We will put it in those stories. It's that simple. Reach out, let us know. And so those are the top 5 stories. On to our featured segment here. This is a small clip. It's around 6 or 7 minutes of Gary Schwartz, who is what I think is an advanced mind when it comes to location-based and retail combination of what's going on there. He's got and payments, and he's just his mind moves at such a great clip. This is his keynote presentation from UNTETHER.talks. It's at least a clip from it. I'll pull it up here. It is called Fast Shopper Slow Store, and it looks at exactly what we talked about in these 5 stories. It seems like it was a match made in heaven. We're going to bring him in to talk about how retail has moved based on location, and what his argument is that, hey, this is an evolution. It's very fascinating. It's a great keynote. You can get it at untether.tv for the whole thing, but this is just a small clip. So here's Gary Schwartz. He is the CEO of Impact Mobile and a good friend and a great mind for the mobile industry and the retail and payment industry. So, Gary, take it away, buddy.
I deal with retailers and I deal with brands, and they all want to use mobile to do really fun stuff, right? I say, look, go back to those days when you were in university and you went into the bar and there was a good-looking gal or there was a good-looking guy and you wanted to sort of hook up, right? And so you didn't go up to the bar and settle next to this person and say, hey, excuse me, have you got a website address? You know, or, gee, have you got an app I could download? Or, gee, is there an NFC tag around there somewhere that I could tap, right? You went up to them and you said that, gee, could I get your phone number? The same question your mom asked your dad or your dad asked your mom to get the second date, right? And that's what we do in mobile because, gee, you know, when you look at this thing, and that's a pretty damn fast phone there. That's a powerful thing. Do you know how much faster? I know there have been discussions about how fast that phone is. I was in a number of discussions today when they said, gee, even Canal said, hey, that's a fast phone. It's faster than the rocket, the guidance computer that sent the first rocket to the moon. But how much faster? Give me a number. How much faster? 10? 1,000. 1,000's a lot. Any others? Okay. It's 2,000 times faster. And that's the Dan Nexus. If you look at, you know, what is new, that's new. And that is 2,600 times faster. These are mammoth, almost like, it's hard to comprehend that that is sitting in your pocket, right? The problem is that is sitting in your pocket. And because it's such a fast device, that all these retailers and brands that want to connect with the gal or the guy in the bar think, oh my gosh, I'm doing it through such a powerful device. What can I use the capabilities of this device? What's at my disposal to connect with this gal and this guy? And that's what we're going to be talking about today because it's all about George. Here's my New York stuff, right? It's all about George because although Google wants to make you believe that they are going to help George, what they really want is to connect to George's wallet in a very personal way. They want to go beyond credit cards and they want to go beyond debit. They even want to go beyond cash. What they want to do is get into what makes George George. What receipts does he have in his wallet? What affinity cards? What's George's personality? Because that's big data. Understanding the relationship that you can establish with George is going to make or break the mobile industry going forward over the next few years. So it's about picking up, unfortunately, George at the bar, right? And so let's take a look at what your phone actually is used for. This amazing phone, 2,600 times faster than the computer that sent the first person to the moon. So yeah, it's used for email. And if you're a healthy mobile adult, you will be emailing during this presentation, right? It's used, obviously, for social networking, to check the weather. You know, hey, I'll Google Gary. I'll find out, you know, what's happening with headlines and sports, of course. I'll find out, you know, where this place is, because obviously a few of you didn't Google location. And it's obviously used for retail. But primarily, 60% of the people who have phones use it to take photographs. 60%. Only 31% are playing games. 60% are using it for photographs. 74% are using it for text messaging. This is a text messaging device. The computer that's 2,600 times faster than the rocket that sent the first person to the moon is primarily used to send text messages. Okay? So that's why we're so screwed. Because that's why, while things are so complex, they're so simple. We've lost our connection to the consumer. We've lost our connection to George. And so bricks and mortar is in huge flux. We're closing, we're reinventing. Ads spend, publishing, how they make money is in huge flux. Again, losing value, reinventing. Mobile wallets. Also, where is that going? You know, maybe 2012 before we start to get something in the market. But if you look at, you know, these big, wonderful press releases with Rogers and CIBC, we all know that those are just optics. We know that those are early positioning statements. This is coming, we don't know when, but the wallet is in flux. And when you look at everything that's changing, there's some interesting things happening. And this I love, because it's showing that not only are things, it's not as if, you know, retail started and now retail is in its dying, you know, motions. And suddenly the store was great. It was invented on the prairies with, you know, Sears Roebuck, and now it's here with Blockbuster and Target and Borders and all the other sort of disrupted stores, and retail is dying. No, it's a continuum. And the reality is that retail is changing and it's innovating. And this is an example of where retail is going. It's not a store. It is not the internet. But here are people, although this particular example was more of a campaign-based, made-you-look kind of thing, this is an example of a store that exists between those two pillars, right? So if you go back again to New York, it's a little bit dark, but that, 120 years ago, or 1888 to be exact, Thomas Adams put the first sweets and gumball machines on the New York subway. Huge innovation. Why? Why was it such an innovation? Because suddenly I could buy gumballs and I didn't have to worry about going to the store. I could be on the New York subway and say, gee, I'd like a gumball, and I could dispense. Well, what happened 120 years later? You had people in subway stations in Singapore doing similar things, and we go, oh my gosh, this is such innovation. Last minute Valentine gifting. Oh my gosh. And you have people on subway stations in Seoul doing innovative stuff. Wow, this is revolutionary. The bottom line is, 120 years later, and hey, train stations are really disruptive places, right? And why? It's because if you can read what's on the top of that, what is Thomas Adams trying to sell you? Fresh sweets, but primarily saving time. Why it was such an innovation 120 years ago is because it made your life easier. It made it fit into your daily routine. He found a gap in the retail cycle, and he capitalized on that. He dispensed manually. We're dispensing into the cloud. Not too much different. We're finding a niche when consumers can engage with us and buy things on their terms.
Gary Schwartz, everybody. You can see how he just thinks at a different level, and this was a fascinating presentation. You can find it at UNTETHER.TV under the Mobile Summit, the Untethered Talks Mobile Summit. There is a cost to this, unfortunately, but we'll give you that clip as a way to entice you. But Gary Schwartz, go and check him out. ImpactMobile.com. You can follow him at ImpactMobile, and this is the kind of stuff that you're going to get from him. We both know him. We both love him. Great guy. Great guy. All right, let's do this. We are now cruising into the funding and M&A activity. A lot more M&A activity again this week than funding. Let's start with our good friends, former sponsor of This Week in Location-Based Marketing, Adcentricity. Big news for those guys, buying a company.
Yeah, this is news. They acquired a fellow Toronto-based company called Media2Go. This is an interesting company. You know, we were talking about RapidBlue earlier, and this is a company who actually has some hardware technology in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, based on doing proximity-based marketing. So this is the other end of indoor location. This is the the idea of pushing pushing messages and connecting with people based on where they are inside of a building. So Media2Go has some cool patents in that space. And Adcentricity, as we know from their sponsorship, is a big player in the digital signage, digital out of home, ad network space. And so when you think about this marriage, potentially what we're talking about here is combining screens with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth transmitting capability, and then being able to kind of create a marriage between a mobile device that can read that signal and interacting with proximity-based content on a screen. Cool.
Very cool. And this is and I mean we love Adcentricity. We think this is a good buy. Media2Go is very, very active in airports, right? And
yes.
So I think that this is, and they're everywhere. So that's great. No numbers were announced on that?
No numbers were announced.
Right, and we couldn't even find the numbers. So Adcentricity, acquiring Media2Go. If you'd like information, go to Adcentricity.com or Media2, the letter 2, the letter, the number 2, Media2Go.com. All right, how many times have you sat down in a Wi-Fi spot in an airport and, detected the Wi-Fi, the free Wi-Fi spot, and then you go down and you're like, yeah, I got free Wi-Fi in this airport, wherever it is, and it's like, hey, welcome to Boingo, and then you get pissed because it's $5, right? Well, all those $5, those little $5 that you spend because they've got you by the short and curlies, is the fact that has allowed Boingo, the Wi-Fi provider, to purchase CloudNine Media. Your $5 and yours and yours and yours and yours and yours and yours have contributed to this. So we own a piece of CloudNine Media just because of our addiction from the internet. What is this? Is this a good deal for them?
This is a great deal for them. This is a deal that they had to do. Boingo is everywhere, as you alluded, some 6,000 locations worldwide. Almost all of which are, the traditional Boingo model of, you pay the $5 to, or you have a monthly subscription plan to use the network when you're in these airports. And as we all know, the world of Wi-Fi has moved very quickly in the last couple of years to, it's free, it's got to be free, it's got to be sponsored. I'm okay with sponsorship in exchange for, getting 30 or 45 minutes or an hour of free Wi-Fi. The problem that Boingo's had with that is, they don't have the media sales capability of going and selling all those ad placements to cover the cost of the operating the network. So Cloud9's a company that does that, this makes sense for them. So I like this deal. Obviously, this is a world I know really well. I'm one of the guys who built ad-sponsored Wi-Fi networks in this country.
That was you.
So yeah.
Oh,
so I like it.
Yes. Well, I like ad-sponsored networks better than the $5 that I would typically pay. So I like any company, like it's usually Amex that I see that is very active in this. Hey, we'll sponsor you for an hour for an Amex. Brought to you by Amex for Boingo, and so I like anybody who is subsidizing this. But you're right. Wi-Fi hotspots were all the rage. It was a revenue spot, wasn't it? This is supposed to be big money, and now we expect it for free, like breathing.
Exactly, and what we're going to see is for the most part the ads that you see on a Boingo network, the current advertisers are a sort of a general ad placement based on demographic information. What we're going to see is a shift as we see more and more of these hotspots come on board and a better equipped media sales capability. We're going to see those ads move to a highly location based delivery model where the ad that I get in a certain coffee shop might be different than the ad I get in the coffee shop across the street or the airport or wherever, purely based on where I am and what's relevant to me based on that location. So,
what surprises me is that duty free shops or in international departure areas, duty free shops haven't really gotten into this, right? They haven't. It's always been there, and it's a de facto. Like you walk through, it's duty free, but there's not a lot of enticement. They don't do a lot of stuff like this. So I think that the location stuff that maybe Boingo would do and Cloud9 would do is I don't know if duty-free shops are dying or not, but it seems to me like even Wi-Fi on the plane, sponsored by a duty-free shop, would entice me to be able to kind of pick stuff up there. I don't know if they have that problem or not, but it just seems it's weird. I mean, everybody advertises all around them, but the duty-free shops, they just assume that retailers or consumers will go in, but maybe there's a business model there.
Yep.
Who knows?
There you go.
Boingo. $5 from you and you and you and you and you, and we bought Cloud9 Media so we can get it free. I like it. Speaking of free, hey, FreeMonee. FreeMonee. This is a company.
FreeMonee. So this is free money, which is MONEE.
Of course.
The FreeMonee network. It's a digital couponing company out of California, out of San Mateo. They've raised $34 million in their latest round.
$34 million
in all.
Wow.
This is big money, but when you look at the couponing space and their competition, everybody's getting big money in this space. Whale Shark got $150 million a while ago. Coupon Cabin got $54 million. Coupons.com got $30 million. So, 34. It seems like right in there. It's a good number. Big guys behind this: Redpoint Ventures, Sutter Hill Ventures, Pinnacle. There's a bunch of big guys in this. So yeah.
Hey, before you go and spend $34 million on a coupon company, no offense to any of these coupon companies, but they're coupon companies, right? Like you're spending this much money on a discount on a coupon company. If you want to go get your jollies, go down to the nearest power plant, right? Unzip your pants and pee on an electric fence before you spend $34 million on a company like this. This is an insane amount of money that people are putting into these companies. And we're going to wake up and we're going to be like, I keep saying this, what do we do? How did this happen? What? Like, you'll wake up from this haze that everybody's in and you'll be like, boy, we shouldn't have spent that $1 billion on coupons. Man.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to be the
you have to be
positive on this again. So if you dig into FreeMonee, it's not a pure play coupon company like some of the others. These guys are more into sort of gifting and rewards, and sort of combining that with the Amex kind of play here, or the credit card play here. So the idea, I associate my account with my credit card. I buy stuff. When I pay with that credit card, I get my discount, but instead of a discount in this case, it's a little more level uppy. I get rewards that accumulate, and then I can redeem and do different things, and you get $5 or $10 that you can use and all that kind of stuff. So, it's not a pure coupon in the sense of coupons.
Well, I'd say that's coupon 2.0, right, or 3.0, or however you want to do it.
A little bit.
But isn't this like, what? Like, it's going to come down to this. So see, if we talk about this all the time, is that what? Who's going to win here? At the end of the day, who's going to take home all this money because they can apply coupons directly to it? It's like, it's carriers. It's whoever owns the relationship with the customer. It's carriers and credit card companies, right? I've
said it a billion times, so yeah.
And I would actually, in Canada, I would add as well, like Interac, the debit card company, right?
Sure.
That's ultimately, these companies that people are putting $34 million, like, it's going to take $34 billion for them to win in this space. They're going to have to become Visa for them to win in this space, or Rogers, or AT&T, or something like that, because they own the customer. They own the customer. They own the credit card. They own the ability to do the discount. It's staggering that this amount of money goes into these companies when ultimately there's going to be whoever owns the customer wins. So I don't see a future in these guys. I don't see a future in any of these companies. It's not just free money. But you know what? Maybe it's pushing the industry forward. But a year from now, we're going to be talking about Visa and MasterCard and American Express and Diners Club doing this.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you on that.
So it's like, stop spending the money. Why don't you sponsor this podcast? Right? It doesn't cost that much money.
Yeah. God. Yeah. I mean, Rob and I need jobs, so let's
exactly. It's like,
let's go.
What? Yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah. We need jobs. It's true. All right. Well, so that's FreeMonee. They raised $34 million. Go to FreeMonee, FreeMonee.com if you can find it. My God. Sorry for the rant. Coupons. Coupon 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, coupon whatever. It's going to be a credit card company that owns that relationship. And if you think I'm wrong, I'd love to hear from you. Untethered.gmail.com. Leave a comment wherever you find this, or reach out. Even, you can reach out to Asif and tell him that he's got to dump me as a host. Asif@thelbmay.com. Whatever it is.
There you go.
But go piss on an electric fence if you want your jollies. Don't spend that much money. Those are the 3 stories. 2 M&A, 1 funding. If yours isn't in there, reach out. We'd love to have it on there. It doesn't matter if it is, as I said last week, it could be $10 from your grandmother. It can be any kind of investment. We'll put it up here. We are not too proud. Those are the 3 stories that are very important. Great diversity there. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wi-Fi, airports, money, coupons. All right. Our resource. See, it strikes me as odd that people do these kind of surveys where it's like, hey, you know what? People use smartphones to shop.
Yeah, I mean,
Let it sink in.
it's obvious that they do that.
What?
But you know, this is coming from Nielsen, and I'll tell you why it's coming from Nielsen, because the brands and the retailers and their advertising agencies need data to back up, you know, them spending ad dollars against these platforms. If you want that Foursquare platform that we talked about at the beginning of the show to get these brands to actually buy promoted ads in Foursquare, the only way they're actually going to do it is if they've got data like this from Nielsen that backs it up. The agency is not going to take a chance on Foursquare coming in and Holger and his team coming in and saying, "Hey guys,
we promise
promoted ads in here. You should really go with this without any independent data to back it up." And that's why this data is important. So Nielsen's come out with this. It basically says nearly half of U.S. smartphone owners now use mobile shopping apps, and they got some serious data behind this. So this is brand new stuff. It says there's 45 million people, 47% of all smartphone owners now use mobile apps for shopping. Projecting that, where did I see it here? Sorry, I'm reading. Biggest mobile shopping apps that they see so far. eBay Mobile was the number one with 13.2 million users, followed by Amazon Mobile at 12.1, followed by drugstore chain Walgreens coming in there along with Target. So some pretty interesting stuff there.
It's not a shock. It shouldn't be a shock. You know, there was another statistic that came out last week that talked about high percentage of people that use these devices, mobile devices, in store. And you know, we just knew that because we've been calling it showrooming for what, basically for the last 18 months, where people walk in and scan product and see where they can find it cheaper. Shop Savvy started that, and all of a sudden, you know, and Best Buy is suffering as a result, and Amazon is thriving.
And by the way, Groupon was up pretty high up there in the top 10, as was Shopkick, and you know, near the bottom of the list there was Saving Star, Out of Milk, and Red Laser. So,
well, these guys are important companies. Maybe not the Groupon, but well, when you start to talk about the impact of these devices that we carry with us on the retail, it's you know, we all know, we assume we know, but we know more, and it's much more about. Now what happens is that now you got the data. Now how do you implement properly? How do you get this? How do you engage with your consumers a little bit deeper so that they don't go and scan and buy from Amazon? Because this is the challenge. Now that you know that everybody's using these devices, now that you know that, what do you do about that? That's the question that everybody's been trying to suffer with. Right? So go and do something.
Good data there. So that's from Nielsen. We'll throw that up on the LBMA site as well under research. So it'll be up by the time you're hearing this. Otherwise, you can go check it out if you have a subscription to Nielsen. Yeah,
and you can do a Google search. I just did one for exactly that. I think it's CIO-Asia.com that you gave me the link. And if you do a search for Nielsen, half of U.S. smartphone owners use mobile shopping apps. That's a good bit.ly link. Just do that, and you'll find it. I swear, you'll find it. But it's a no-brainer. Now, I challenge you, retailers out there. What are you going to do about this? Go and do something great. Go and engage with your customers. Go and make some money as a result of this whole mobile revolution. Don't lose customers to Amazon, even though I think it is going to be the single most valuable company on the planet in the next couple of years. All right, that's it.
That's it.
Asif, we made it. We made it. I would be loath if I didn't remind you to go and subscribe to this through iTunes. If you are this far into the episode, you probably already have done that. We really appreciate it if you do that. And while you're there, go and give us a 5-star. Give us a good rating, would you? Please, please, please. If you like listening to us, if you like hearing about us, don't tell us. Go and hit 5 stars. Leave a comment in iTunes. That's the best thing you could do for us. If you really want us to continue, we'd love for you to do that. So go and subscribe, hit 5 stars. We would love you forever. Forever.
Yeah, no, please do.
Forever. Anything coming up for you this week? Are you in town?
I'm in town, you know, just catching up with members and clients and stuff around here. And then next week I'm off for a few days to do a presentation in Kansas City. So if you're in Kansas City, I'm going to be in town.
Got to check out the high-speed, Google's high-speed fiber to the home in Kansas City.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's on my list.
Give us, I don't know, knock on somebody's door. Hey, can I test out your eye? Yeah, that won't work very well. My name's Asif from the Location-Based Marketing Association. Flash a badge and let me see your high speed. Oh boy! All right, that is it for episode.
Places. I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, that is episode. That is it for episode 90. We will be here next week in one way, shape, or form with episode number 91. If you have any feedback, reach out on Untethered@gmail.com or Asif@the LBMA. We will see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. See you, Asif.
See you, Rob.
You're on mute.
All right, let me try that. All right, here we go.